happy to have you. If you're here for the first time, thank you for coming. I do write my own stories and read them. And today, you know, without itching, the topic today, our story, it's a 15-minute story. The title is The Love That Unlocked Her Past. The rain fell shortly that evening over the quiet town of Rose Hill. The street glittered under the amber glow of streetlights. And in the small corner cafe, a young woman named Alina sat by the window. She came there often, not because she loved the coffee, but because it was the only place she felt and seen, even in her sadness. Alina had grown up in foster care. She had no memory of her mother, only a faded photograph of a woman smiling by a river, and the back of it written in blue ink where the word words, "For my sunshine, until we meet again." She used to stare at that photo at night and wonder, who was she? Why did she leave? But the life had taught Alina to stop asking questions that hurt until that night. The meeting. He came in with the rain, tall, quiet, with a warmth that felt like morning light breaking through fog. His name was Evan. He was new in town, a traveler that right, passing through, curious about forgotten places and untold stories. They talked by accident, a spilled cup of coffee, a soft apology, a shared laugh. But it wasn't the laughter that caught him, it was her eyes, carrying both strength and warmth, like she'd seen the storm but never found the rain or the rainbow. Days turned into weeks, and what began as a small conversation over coffee turned into long walks, late night talks, and the comfort of understanding. Then one night, as the rain returned, Alina opened up. "I don't know who I am, Evan. I don't know where I come from. My mother disappeared when I was 2. All I have is this photo. I don't even know if she's alive." Evan looked at the picture quietly. He noticed something strange. The background wasn't just a riverbank. It was the Willow Bend Bridge, a place famous for old legend, where one years ago, a woman named Mirelle Grace, young, vibrant, and full of dreams, had been reported missing near Willowbine. The only thing left behind was a child's blanket marked with the name A. Grace. Welcome, my dear sister. Alina Grace. Evan's heart raced. Could it be her? But the story got darker. Mirror hadn't just vanished. She was running from someone, a man she had trusted, who had wanted her silence after uncovering secrets of corruption in a family business, secrets that could destroy lives. And that man was alive. The confrontation. Evan tried to tell Elena, but before he could, strange things began happening. A car following her from home, a note slipped under the door. "Stop digging into the past." Quote. End of quote. I tried, and she was flabbergasted, even terrified. But it also awakened something fierce inside her. She refused to live in fear anymore. With Evan by her side, she went back to Willow Bend Bridge, the place her mother had last been seen. There beneath the river arch, they found a hidden compartment. Ooh, a small rusted tin box. Inside were letters written to her, letters her mother had written but never sent. The last one read, and I quote, "If you ever find this, my sunshine, know that I never left you. I run to protect you. One day, truth will find you, and love will keep you safe." Tears fell freely down Elena's cheeks. In the moment, she realized her mother hadn't abandoned her. She saved her. As dawn broke over the bridge, Evan held to her close. "Now, you know you are not abandoned," he whispered. "And now it's time to live." Months later, Evan published a story titled "The Woman Who Waited at Widow Bend." It told not just the mystery and lost, but the recovery and courage. Elena, now standing on the same bridge, placed her mother's photo in a locket and smiled, not with sadness, but peace. Beside her, Evan slipped his hand into hers. "Ready for our next chapter?" he asked. "Always," she replied. And with that, the woman who had once been lost in her own story finally began to write a new one. This time, with love and truth as her co-host. Welcome, welcome, guys. And that's the end of our short story today. So that was a short story, and you saw the topic. I just want to say thank you, Jordan. Bless you for being here. And of course, Sister Elise for being here. Kingdom Daughter, welcome as well. Welcome. Greetings and blessings, sister, and to everyone in the chat listening. Bless you, Kingdom. Thank you for coming. And Sister Elsie said, "Kingdom Daughter, welcome." Yes, so yes, guys, that's my short story for today, and that's what I'll be doing on Saturday. I'll just do a random short story that I've composed, and I just want to share the moral of the story that I've just read. Sometimes love doesn't just fill the empty space of our hearts. It helps us uncover the truth we were too hard to see. Elena's story reminds us that healing often begins when someone cares enough to look deeper, and that real love doesn't just comfort, it redeems. And that's the moral of the story today. I want to thank you all for being here, and tell me, what do you think about the story? There you have a young woman for all her life, over 20 years. She have believed that, she was abandoned, end up, in the orphanage and all of that, foster care. And she thought that nobody cared, and, her mother left her. But her mother did left her to save her life, And sometimes in life, we may not, don't be so quick to believe the worst because we don't see the full and know the full story. Never be so quick to just accept face value of what the worst is. It behooves us to probe a little deeper until you get your answers. And then you may be surprised to see that it was really nothing like you have thought. And you could have spared yourself the heartache, and all of that. So you can let me know, what do you think about the story? Alina and Evan. He was just a traveler, a journalist who seek stories that are interesting and so on. And here he found one, and that story also led him to this young lady even who he find companionship in. Yeah, so that's the synopsis for today. Sister Elise said, nice story. Thank you, Sister Elise. Appreciate it. Yeah, so it turns out that the mother had to run because she also had trust someone who she found out a dangerous secret about that someone that have also put her life in danger. So in order to save her child, she had to run for the hills. But what I appreciate is that what are the odds that there's a secret compartment under the bridge with the answer, the hidden letter, you know. And sometimes it do takes an interesting mind, a creative mind to find these clues. And so hats off to Evan, you know. So yeah, I think it was a really interesting story. So this will be the beginning of our Saturday short but interesting story. It doesn't really need an episode or continuation. So that is what is happening, and so far, happy Saturday to everyone. All of you that are here, I appreciate your company. Yes. So yeah, that's the moral of the story. And even to the mere point that, can you imagine as a child dying, going to your grave with a heartache? You don't know who your parents are. I mean, that's supposed to be sticky. And the reality of the situation is that there are people in this life who that is their story. Yeah, they really don't know who their moms and their mother or father, it truly is. So they have to live with that, that pain. So Sister Alice is so true. But the good thing is that you do have true life angels, not spiritual beings, physical people who, they also turn their lime and turn it in lemonade, wherein they're maybe not able to have children, or maybe they have some of these abandoned kids as their very own, and they grow up feeling loved and appreciated and lack nothing also, and contribute positively to society. So though this is a fiction, it's a story, there are true life stories out there where people can relate. But it's just that a lot of person doesn't get that true happy ending, wherein it is investigated and they discover who their real bloodline is, but it doesn't make them any worse or any better than we are, who know who our parents are. So if you're just coming in, thank you for coming, thank you for the thumbs up. You are just coming in, you can go back after and listen to go to the beginning, listening to the story that was just read. It's just a short story, but I think it's impactful. So you can go back and listen it as well. So you can even get a better understanding of what we're talking about. So the topic of the story is, like I said before, the love that unlocked the past. And sometimes, we meet people for different reasons. Sometimes it doesn't turn out to be a love interest like that, but it turned out to be nevertheless profitable. Welcome, Black people are the chosen one of God. Simply Michelle, good evening and happy blessings to you. Thank you as well, Ezekiel, my friend, Black people. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for the thumbs up. Yes, I appreciate you guys. So yeah, if you're just coming in, you can go back and it's a short story. And don't be afraid to leave your comments under the video. Yeah, so that's it. Really appreciate you coming in. Love and appreciate every one of you. It's just a short story. This is the way we'll be going now on a Saturday, unless something happen, like may it never be another hurricane or anything like that. God forbid we can manage no more of that. But unless something come up behind, they're my control, I may just replay a video or something, but we'll be doing short stories. And of course, it will do have a significant meaning, something that can maybe encourage or we can relate back to or know someone we can relate to. So that's what is happening. this Saturday. And I just want to say, guys, that where there's life, there is truly hope, as the story shows. And for those who are coming in, as I was saying before, don't be so quick to believe the worst, even though it may seem like that is your situation. You can probe a little deeper to find out the truth behind it, especially when you're in doubt. Because I really don't believe that things happen to people by chance. I think we're all linked. We're all linked in some way, shape, and form, because the author of our true life story is the true and living God, and He links us for different reasons. Sometimes it's benefit to us, benefit to the next person. Sometimes no, it's of no benefit to us, but it's still a part of God's plan because we are part of His blueprint. Yeah. So the moral of the story is keep your chin up too. Don't be so quick to succumb to what the negative is showing you to be your reality. Bear in mind that God have the final say, and you can always spin it around for your good. As it is said, every disappointment worketh for good to them that love God. So yes, spin it right round. And as Jamaicans will say, when life gives you lime, you make lemonade. Yeah, that's basically what it is. And just like Alina, yeah, and Sister Elsie said, amen, sis. Yeah. What if Elena did just keep her mouth locked? She met this person, she think coincidentally, at the coffee shop, right? And by a mere accident of spilling something or whatever, there becomes an opener. What if she was nasty about it and you lose out on the opportunity? You understand? Of accomplish the very end result of her finding out the truth about her parents. So, yeah, you have to learn to just look on the bright side of things, especially in this time that we live in, because we're living in a time, I really think we're living in a time of deception, where you can really take nothing by face value, really, but to dig and probe a little deeper. And, 50-50 or 80% of the time, you do find the truth, and give people the benefit of the doubt. As I was told as a child by my grandmother, that I don't remember the quote exactly, but it has something to do with be careful how you entertain strangers because you may just entertain angels. And what is that saying is that you're meeting somebody for the first time, be careful how you treat them. Because that person may be your bridge to cross over a rocky, or a troublesome situation. That person may be the link or your answer to something. So that's why it pays to be polite, I know we still have to be careful, but it pays to be polite, to be a decent person, just to be a decent humanitarian to someone in time like this. So yes, I'm going for, the whole thing we're in nowadays, just to try have that positive vibes, because there is so much negative shows off, our aura. So yeah, that's what I'm aiming for, being positive, because trust me, right now, you don't have a thing, do a thing for negative landing in your lap. Negativity is like negativity, as you open the door, it's like negativity, I say, see me here. And before you open the door, it's trying to invite itself. Right? Yes, so I have to decline. Anyway, we've come to the end of the story. I'm going to rush and go and answer him because it's not enough for me to decline him. So love you, appreciate you all. Thank you for listening to the story. You can leave your comments under the video after it is posted and with someone. And this is the way as we're going forward. Love and appreciate you all for coming in. God continue to bless. and keep you all. Bless you, Sister Elsie. Sister Elsie, you're welcome. Sis, bless you. All right, bye bye for now. I'm trying to go before he calls back. All right, love and appreciate you guys. Bye bye. Welcome, welcome. Welcome back to my channel, Simply Michelle, and happy to have you. Yes, so you have seen the topic for today's short story. Welcome, welcome. And if you're here for the first time, watch and also comment and subscribe. So the topic of the story, as you have seen today, is story of faith, healing, and new beginning. The topic is the light you never saw. And these stories, they are composed by myself, and I hope that this one will minister and encourage your heart. So let's get right into it. Mikhail Rowe had learned early in life that silence was never safer than truth. Growing up, he had been that boy in Miss Thomas' primary school class who sat at the far back desk, always with his head down, always writing in the margins of old exercise books. No one understood him. No one tried. Life had given him reasons not to speak, loss he could not untangle, disappointments he had swallowed, and a loneliness so deep it had become familiar, almost comfortable. He had believed in God. No, he hadn't believed in God. He didn't believe in joy as well. His father left when he was 9. His mother, overwhelmed, drifted emotionally until she drifted physically too. By 16 years old, Mikhail left and felt like a shadow moving through the world. Brilliant, quiet, efficient, yet empty. And like I said before, he didn't believe in God. He didn't believe in joy. And he certainly didn't believe in people. When he turned 25, nothing much had changed. He worked a small job at the hardware store, went home, stayed inside, repeated. He convinced himself it was enough. At least, nothing hurt if you didn't expect anything. So he thought. A familiar voice after 10 years. It happened on a Thursday afternoon, so ordinary a day that God must have chosen it on purpose. Mikhail was in the corner aisle, stocking paint cans when he heard a bright, musical voice behind him. "Excuse me, sorry, are you Mikhail?" He turned slowly. A young woman stood before him, sunlight spilling across her face like she carried a piece of morning with her. Curly hair pulled up, a soft smile, kind eyes, full of recognition. She laughed lightly. "You don't remember me, do you? I am Stephanie. Stephanie Grant from Miss Thomas' class." She leaned forward a little. The guy that didn't talk to anyone was always so brilliant, she reminded him. Something shifted in his chest. Steph. He remembered a girl with ribbons in her hair who always raised her hand, in class, always encouraged others, always told him goodbye, even when he never responded. She had left town suddenly after she graduated 6th grade. He never knew why. "You migrated," he finally murmured. Yes, she nodded. My family moved away, but I just moved back last month to stay with my grandfather. Her eyes brightened. He pastored the little white church on the hill, Bethel Hope Chapel. Michael's different church, not for him. But she didn't preach. She didn't push. Instead, she smiled. And the way sunlight rests gently and quiet water. Wow, Mikhail, I can't believe it's really you, she smiled. Friendship he didn't know he needed. Over the next few weeks, Stephanie made a habit of stopping by the hardware store, sometimes to buy something, sometimes for nothing at all. What surprised Mikhail most was her consistency, her warmth, her interest in the stories he never planned to share. He tried to keep conversations short, but she had a way of making silence feel safe. She talked about her grandfather, Pastor Grant, the community youth group, her belief that God always found lost people, even those who didn't want to be found. One afternoon, she asked gently, "You ever go by the church?" Mikhail almost laughed. "No," he responded. "Well, you could come on Sunday. No pressure. I promise. Just come with me. Sit with me. I think you'll like the music." He shook his head. "Church isn't for people like me," he said. Stephanie looked at him with a seriousness he didn't expect. "You mean people who are hurting?" His chest tightened. She didn't look away. "You don't have to say anything. I can see it. God sees it. You and you don't have to carry it alone." Mikhail swallowed hard. No one had ever spoken to him like that. No one ever seen him like that. When a heart begins to open. A few days later, Stephanie found Mikhail sitting behind the store on his lunch break, staring at the mountains. "You look like your thoughts are heavy," she said softly. Without knowing why, Mikhail started talking. Not everything, but enough. He told her he didn't trust people, that he didn't believe in faith, that whenever he tried to hope for better, something worse came instead. Stephanie listened. No judgment, no scripture dropped like stones, just compassion. When he finished, she said quietly, "Pain had a voice too, but God doesn't silence pain, He heals it." He looked at her, confused and frustrated. "Why do you even care?" he asked. Stephanie took a slow breath. "Because I know what it's like to feel lost. And because God put people in our path for a reason. You were never invisible to Him, not to Him." Her words sounded here like a challenge, soft, but unignorable. For the first time, something inside Mikhail cracked, not vocal, vocal. The church and the hill. It took 2 more weeks before he gave in. "Fine," he muttered one afternoon. "I will go just for one service." Stephanie's face lit up, not with triumph, but with quiet gratitude. "Come with me Sunday morning. I will sit right beside you." The church was small, wooden, wooden with sunlight filtering through stained windows. Pastor Grant greeted him with warmth that unsettled him, like he was glad Mikhail existed, not just attending. During the sermon, Pastor Grant said, some people come to church expecting judgment, but God is the one who comes to them with mercy. You don't have to fix your life to come to Him. You come to Him and He begins to fix your life, said Pastor Grant. Mikhail felt something in his chest tremble. Stephanie glanced at him, not pushing, not insisting, just a reassuring presence beside him. For the first time in his adult life, Mikhail wondered if God had been waiting for him. A heart that finally says yes. After service, they walked outside, sunlight hitting the hills softly. Mikhail stood slightly, his hands shaking a little. I felt something, he whispered. Stephanie nodded. That's the Holy Spirit, you know. He's calling you. I don't know what to do with that, said Mikhail. You don't have to know, she said gently. You just have to respond. Pastor Grant approached kindly. Son, if you want to pray, I'll pray with you. Mikhail hesitated. Ears of doubt battled inside him. Ears of hurt. Ears of believing he wasn't worth anything. Not to people, not to God. But when he looked at Stephanie, he saw hope, not in her, but, through her, like she was pointing to something beyond herself. With a trembling breath, Mikhail nodded. They prayed under the almond tree beside the church. His words came out broken, but sincere. God, if you are real, if you really do see me, I am tired. I don't want to walk alone anymore. And in that moment, quiet, almost imperceptible, peace flooded him. Not loud, not dramatic, just real. He felt seen. He felt held. He felt love. The beginning of life. Life didn't transform overnight, but Mikhail did. He began attending church regularly, reading scriptures, taking more smiling, sometimes healing gradually. Stephanie never took credit. She always said, it's God who saves. I just showed you the road. Months passed, and Mikhail found himself standing outside the hardware store one evening, watching the sky glow soft orange. For the first time in his life, he whispered a prayer on his own. Thank you for sending someone who didn't give up on me. From the road, Stephanie waved as she always do and walked toward church for a youth meeting. Mikhail, you coming? She asked. He smiled, genuine, unforced. Yeah, I'm coming. And as he walked towards the church on the hill, he realized something. Darkness was no longer home, not when God had given him the courage to step into the light, not when hope had finally found him. And that is the story for today. And guys, this story shows how awesome God is. And just to give you a short synopsis, the story, it was really about a quiet, wounded young man named Hale, who grew up believing in nothing, not God, not people. As his life transformed when he unexpectedly reconnects with Stephanie, a vibrant Christian woman he knew from primary school. Though her compassion and the gentle guidance of her grandfather's church, Mikhail slowly steps out of his darkness and discovers faith, hope, and the peace he never believed he deserved. It's a story of healing, spiritual awakening, and the light God sends when we least expect it. And this just reminds me of how awesome God is. So, even in this life, you have people who are hurting and going through a lot. But I just want to remind those of you guys that have come across this video that brokenness is not permanent. With compassion, patience, God's love, even the hearts that have shut themselves away, can be restored and made whole again. Have you ever gone through a season where you felt like Mikhail, isolated or hopeless? What helped you through it? You can text under the video and share it. Do you believe God places specific people in our lives for a specific moment? Why or why not? You can respond on the video in the comment section. And which part of Mikhail's transformation stood out to you the most and why? Also, Stephanie showed patience, compassion, and consistency. How important do you think these qualities are when trying to reach someone who's hurting? Leave your answer, like I said, in the comment section. What role does faith and community play in healing emotional wounds? Also, what would you say to someone who have lost hope or stopped believing, like Mikhail did for years? How can we become Stephanie to someone else, someone who leads with love and help others draw closer to God? So, today we walk through Mikhail's journey. A journey many people silently live every day, believe it or not. His story reminds us the darkness is not the end, and hopelessness is not life sentence. God has a way of reaching into our broken places sometimes through people we least expect and gentle guiding us back to his light. Now, if you take anything from this story, let it be this. No heart is too far. No soul is too damaged. And no life is too lost for God to step in and restore. We may all be open to the help he sends, and may we all be willing vessels for someone else's healing. And today I just want to say thank you for being here, and I hope may follow you, and whatever you do today, take the time to reflect and to give God thanks, because in this journey called life, no man is an island and no man stands alone. In spite of how you're feeling today, like Mikhail, God have a way of reaching us. And be hopeful and expect God. Whatsoever it is you need, maybe you need deliverance from something, maybe you just need help with something. Maybe you just need someone to listen. As you get up in the morning, expect that. Expect to see that someone. And talk to the Lord. If it's even to say, Lord, send your help. I need a listening ear. And I guarantee you that God will answer. His ears are not heavy that he cannot hear. Neither his hands short that he cannot deliver. All you have to do is to believe. Believe that when you pray, God will answer. Believe that there is an awesome being, awesome God out there that hears, who sees, and who knows. And yeah, that will be enough for the moment. And I know that the Lord will minister to your need. I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you. Remember to thumbs up the video when you watch it. And remember to comment in the comment section and answer the questions at the end. I want to thank everyone that have passed through, everyone that will listen, and that will take part by commenting and share what it is you get from the story. Because, like I said before, no man is an island, no man stands alone. And in everything, remember to give thanks. Because when you give thanks, the Creator Himself will give you something more to continue to be thankful for. And the more you talk about Him and His name, and stand on His name, tell how awesome His name is, He will come and He will defend His name, because He's not a God that can lie. He said, seek and you shall find. He said, ask and it shall be given. He also said, knock and it shall be opened unto you. And in this life, we need each other, even more so than we believe, and don't give up today. Most of all, don't give up on God. If you're a person who right now you feel like quitting, you feel like this is it and throwing in the towel, nobody cares. Maybe you have been there for persons, and now that you're in need, it seems as if no one is there for you. Not your friends, not even your family members who you have helped. It's your time now that you need a helping hand, and everyone have turned their backs. I'm going to encourage you not to give up. But I will ask you to go on your knees one more time in prayer. Even if it's a situation wherein you feel like you cannot pray, or you may not be motivated to go down on the knees, wherever you are, in a quiet place, just say a word. If it's even to pray in your mind, tell it to the Creator. Before you throw in that towel, before you call it quits, one last time, just say to Him, just like what you would have said to a best and a closest friend, just give it to the Lord like that, whether in your thoughts, whether verbally. Yeah, call on Him, let Him know that, God, I'm fed up. This is my last time coming to you, because I have been asking, I have been seeking, I have been knocking, and it seems like no one cares. God, it seems like you are not there. Relate to Him, on a real, genuine scale, and let Him know what you're feeling, how you're feeling, and yeah, this is it. And you may be surprised to see that when you have come to the end of that road, that's when He decides to answer, to show up, and to embrace you with such a peace, with such a joy that passes all understanding. Because God is a unique God. His ways are higher than ours. His ways and His thoughts are higher than ours. And we may not know why He acts the way He acts, why He chooses to do the things the way He chooses to do it, but He is God. And remember, we cannot fake it. You understand? So it behoves us to just be real as it gets with Him. And I know He will turn up. because I myself, I have been at that road once. I got saved at 15 years old. And yeah, and it was at a time, my dad wasn't really in my life either at that. So maybe I can somewhat identify with the pain, the story. And, my mom didn't have it. And at the time, I had to go and live with some family member into a different parish. And it wasn't easy for that for those family members. But they give me the best and they tried. But there was that time when I felt like I was alone and nobody cared. I wasn't a Christian as it and everything, and I remember I was invited to this church that I'm attending now. I was invited several times and go to the altar several times, but I was always having my eyes open. I was always fearful of who is this God, and the way I see the people moving the street, and I said, no, that's not dignified. And 15-year-old teenager, yourself. I was very much myself, but that night, I think it was a youth week or something. I get fed up of going to the altar. I decided to close my eyes, and Sister Brown at the time, may God bless her soul, she had gone to rest. Beautiful woman of God, beautiful soul. She was praying with me and she said, Michelle, do you know everything? Just picture the Lord on the cross, giving his life for me. I remember like it was yesterday. And when she said that, I remember I closed my eyes and tears started coming down my face. And she was saying, Michelle, tears is a language known only unto God. So that is it. Let it go. Give it to the Lord. And, I started doing what she was doing. And I remember I started praying in my mind until I started saying words. And I remember telling the Lord, I'm fed up. I don't understand why life was so hard for me. I was just 15 years old and I should not be going through this alone. I just felt so unloved at the time. I just felt like nobody cared. And, I remember feeling in my belly, it's as if a joy that turning over like a leaf. My belly started leaping and it felt like the Lord was hearing me, and I felt like he wrapped me in my arms. And I remember my whole body felt chills from my feet come up, and I started to have stammering lips, and I started to say Jesus, and it's as if I was just complaining. Oh my God, I feel like crying. But it's tears of joy. I felt like, I was just complaining to the Lord. Hallelujah. But it was a feeling like none other. And this is something I wish that everyone really feels, because it's extraordinary. I felt safe. I felt secure. I felt like somebody was finally listening. And that night, I remember it's as if I was fighting in the spirit. They couldn't hold me. And I started to speak with stammering lips and this overwhelming joy. And I started to speak in another tongue. And it was just awesome. Oh, I'm a mess. But it's a good mess. It's just a memory of my experience. And I give God thanks because from that night, here I am. I remember praying the prayer when I got the Holy Spirit. I still didn't even decided that I wanted to get baptized because I didn't. I found this newness. But then a part of me was fearful because I didn't. My friends, they were jeering and said, if you decide to walk with the Lord, I'll give you 2 weeks. Even when I decided that I was going to baptize, I give me 2 weeks. I'm giving you 2 weeks to backslide because you're not going to stay in church. You love your pants too much and you look tight up and, because at 15 years old. But guys, as I sit here today, I was never the same. I got conscious of my appearance and I just wanted to be more modern, more humble, more modest. And because people were telling me that I was going to backslide in 2 weeks, I started reading the Bible for myself. I prayed, I asked the Lord to give me the understanding of it, and I did get it. I started to love the Word of God. I remember I lived in Proverbs. Yeah, Proverbs and Proverbs chapter 3 and the New Testament. And that is where I build my confidence. And I asked the Lord, I said, keep me, because I really cannot do this by myself. I couldn't do it by myself. So Here I am today after 30 odd days, 30 odd years. The Lord is still keeping me and I have no regrets. And I do have this joy. It doesn't matter what's happening around me, whether it is a hurricane, whatever. I find this level of peace and contentment in knowing that my life is in the hands of the Lord and knowing that He has the final say. So, yes, thank you for coming in today. I really didn't plan to share my story, but that's how the Lord operates. And, as I always say, Philippians 3 verse 14. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So whatever you're trying to do today, do it to your best of your ability. And for today, I say bye-bye and God bless you. And I do hope the story will encourage your heart and you'll look to the Lord always come at your help because your help cometh from Him. Bye-bye.